Hi, I'm Nan, and my website is seedforsecurity.com. And today we're going to be extracting pumpkin seeds from our sugar pumpkins. And what I have done is wash one of these pumpkins, and then I simply take a knife and a cutting board and cut the pumpkin in half. I try not to cut too deeply because that would cut into the seed pocket. Cut it in half all the way around. Let's see. Good. Now separate the pumpkin, and this shows the seeds. You can see them. Now what you need to do is put the seeds in a sieve. Separate the seeds from the membrane with your fingers. Put them in. Some of the seeds will be immature, and you will see that they're very small, but most of them are beautiful, nice and plump. Extract all the seeds. It takes a little time. It's a little gooey, but you get used to it. Discard the membrane. Don't need that. Get all these seeds out. I've got some nice plans for the pumpkin too, the pumpkin flesh. I have a really nice pumpkin pie recipe. My son loves it. And pumpkin bread too. So I'm going to save the pumpkin flesh, of course, and freeze it for later use. Now these pumpkin seeds, after they're thoroughly dried, will keep at room temperature for 6 years. Longer still if they're placed in a mylar bag with a desiccant. And also they can be refrigerated for longer storage or frozen for the longest storage. Okay, at this point we have the seeds for half a pumpkin. And we're going to use some lukewarm water to rinse them. Now don't use hot water. Make sure that it's lukewarm. And this gets the sticky stuff off. Good. At this point, get as much water out of that as you can. And then what I do is place the pumpkin seeds on a paper towel. Discard the big pieces of membrane. Use the towel to blot the seeds. Get as much moisture out as you can. Just kind of press down. Okay, now I'm ready to put the seeds into a low-sided cardboard box. I have newsprint on the bottom and white paper towels on the top. Use the white paper towels next to the seeds because the seeds will take the ink from the newsprint. And then just put your seeds right in this flat box. Kind of move it around a little bit. These are seeds from a half of a small pumpkin. As you can see, we have a lot of pumpkins over there. Now, very important to make sure that you label, right, pumpkin and the date. The 12th day of November. Now, these seeds will take, depending on the humidity, about 6 weeks to dry. Now, how do you know if they're dry enough to store? Well, pumpkin seeds that are not dry enough to store will bend, and they won't snap in half. So when they snap in half after about 6 weeks or so, you know that you can put them in Ziploc bags or in a mason jar. Now I want to show you some seeds that I extracted yesterday. These are pumpkin seeds, and I want to show you how they're sticky. They stick right to the paper. So So you have to use your hands and move them. Move them around. After you do this on day 2, you don't need to do it again because they don't keep sticky. But you need to get all that up so they don't stick together. Okay. So now we've got our seeds. And now we have the pumpkin. So this is what I do with this. Break off the stem, use a paring knife, and I cut the sides like this, and a spoon, and I just scrape out the extra membrane. As you can see, I have a few seeds there. I'll go back after those later. Okay. Keep scraping until you get most of that membrane scraped down. Doesn't have to be 100%. Like I said, this makes wonderful pies and wonderful bread. I have a friend that eats the pumpkin as a vegetable. It's very, very nutritious. I tell you, if you're hungry, you want something with calories and good nutrition. You don't want to eat salad if you're hungry. I like salad, but if I'm hungry, I want to eat something like a pumpkin. So what I do is I put them upside down and I bake the pumpkin shells in a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes until I can take a fork and pierce through easily. At that point, I take them out and cool the shells down completely, and then scoop out the flesh and put it in a mixer or a blender and puree it. And then I freeze the pumpkin in the appropriate amount, 1.5 cups for pies and 3 cups for bread. That's my recipes. That's what I use. And and then I freeze it, and it keeps all winter. It's very good. I hope you enjoy your pumpkins.